Thanks for checking into the channel. What's going on? My name is Jason. Today I'm out on my Sportster 48 and it's a beautiful, beautiful night. It's been a while since I've actually just done like a regular moto vlog. I've done a lot of bike reviews in the past, a lot of gear reviews, but today I just felt like going on a ride and just talking to you all about things that have been happening in my life, particularly one event that could potentially change the way that I ride this bike for the foreseeable future. This bike and also the Lowrider S. So there's a backstory to this. Last week for Father's Day, I went out for a ride. You know, that is my day pass, my hall pass, whatever you want to call it, to just go out and ride and enjoy myself without any guilt. It's kind of this unspoken agreement that my wife and I have that, you know, on Father's Day, that I get to go out and just kind of go for a ride for the whole day. So I wanted to take full advantage of this opportunity. And I decided to go out towards Shenandoah, Skyline Drive. That area of Virginia is just gorgeous. It is drop dead gorgeous. The day was just going perfectly. And shortly after lunch, I was headed to my next destination point, and I was riding on what I thought was like an interstate. The speed limit was 55. I got pulled over for speeding. Yeah, that's right. I got pulled over. The police officer ticketed me for going 82 in a 55 mile per hour zone. You might be thinking, nah, Jason, that's not a big deal. You know, just pay the fine, get over with it. You accumulate a couple of points or a few points, and then you're on your way. Lesson learned. That's what I thought was going to happen, but I went home and I did a little bit of research, and Virginia has some of the harshest violations or the harshest penalties for speeding. I kid you not. I don't know what laws are like in your state, but Virginia definitely does not play. So the police officer let me know that, hey, you got a reckless driving ticket because you're going 20 over the speed limit. As soon as he said reckless, I knew that was a big deal. I knew that was a big deal. You know, I've had trouble with the law before in terms of like speeding, and I know that reckless is pretty up there. By the way, I'm in Maryland. You know, most of my riding is in Maryland, so I'm not all that familiar with the traffic laws of Virginia, because everything is different state to state, right? All right, so I'm gonna go drop off this package here and we'll keep chatting. If you get a speeding ticket that is 20 miles per hour over the speed limit, that is automatically considered reckless driving. And what makes it so concerning is that in Virginia, reckless driving is a class 1 misdemeanor. Now, what does that mean? In Virginia, they consider a class 1 misdemeanor the same way that they would consider DUI or like assault and battery. So this is pretty serious stuff, meaning a reckless driving ticket is viewed in the court of Virginia the same way, or it would be treated in the same way that DUI, assault and battery, like those are serious charges. And DUIs, if you are convicted, they do not leave your record. So this is some serious stuff. I did some research on like, what are the possible fines, right? What is the possible maximum penalty? It is up to 12 months in prison, or I guess county prison, and up to $2,500 fine. Most likely I'm not going to get that sentence, like the maximum sentence, because those are usually reserved for people who are going over triple digits, at least in the state of Virginia. But it's serious enough where it just scared the bejesus out of me. Like, all of these things started going through my mind. Will my license get suspended? Will I be on probation? Will I have to serve any time in jail? So it was scary enough that I started consulting with some lawyers. I started doing a lot more research, and I figured I cannot risk losing my license. I cannot risk having something permanent like that on my record. It is a criminal offense, reckless driving. That does not go off your record for about 11 years, I think. This could potentially impact the way that I ride for a good amount of time. Worst case scenario, I go to prison or I go to jail. I can't ride, obviously. Even if my license gets suspended or something happens, or I get a few points, my insurance goes up, there's a lot of court fees, lawyer fees. This is really going to make me rethink how I ride my bike. It's slightly different because in Maryland, everyone speeds. It is normal to go 80 in a 55 in Maryland on the highway. If I get pulled over again, I don't know what the penalty could be. I'm scared that, I could potentially be pulled over for any little thing. If the cop pulls me over and looks at my record and sees that, oh, he's been, he has a reckless driving ticket, like that, I'm done, I'm finished. It's just really hard to climb out of that. So why am I telling you all this story? I've thought about what are the lessons learned here. Obviously, if you're in Virginia, do not speed. They do not play. I think it was a wake-up call that maybe, even though by my definition I wasn't being reckless, but I could be more careful. I don't need to be racing around all the place. Like the Lowrider S just makes it so easy to speed. I will need to exercise more judgment, more wisdom. That's really the lesson that I wanted to pass along today. Be careful out there, make wise decisions. Of course, if you don't care, then by all means, just throw this out the window and do your thing. But actions have consequences. That's the last thing that I wanted to mention. We all know that actions have consequences, and I'm not saying that this isn't fair. I know that I was speeding, so I know that those actions have consequences if you get caught. I also did want to talk about just the idea of proportionality a little bit. It makes no sense whatsoever that a 20 mile per hour over the limit speeding ticket will be in the same conversation as a DUI or driving under the influence or assault and battery. You might say, well, a violation is a violation, you're breaking the law. We all know that it's not black and white like that. There's shades of gray. In my perspective, going 20 miles an hour over when the speed limit is 55, in this day and age, that is not unheard of. On the Maryland Beltway, everyone's going 70 and above. And if you're not, you're potentially endangering yourself or others. I'm still counting my blessings. Silver lining, it could have been way worse. I do know that I was driving fast. It could have been a lot worse. I could have gotten into an accident. Police didn't handcuff me right there and then. There's a lot of good things that I'm trying to see out of all of this. This is the wake-up call that I needed to ride more responsibly, exercise more judgment. But yeah, that is the message that I wanted to relay to you all today. All right. On a brighter note, there are a lot of things that I've done to this bike, as you can kind of see. Next week, I will put out a video of the mods that I have on this bike, and I'll figure all that stuff out because there's a lot that I've done on this bike. Mostly cosmetic, and there's still a lot more things to do. But that's it for me today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to me rant for a little bit, and thanks for listening to me share my life with you all. This was very therapeutic for me. I hope you learned something out of this, but that's it for me today. I'm gonna skate out of here, and until the next video, I'll see you all later. Peace.